yesterday down on them.
Okay.
Are we live?
I'm not
3, 2, 1, 0.
Now we're live?
Yes.
Maybe.
Hello, everybody. I'm Kelly here today. We have some technical stuff going on today, so if you saw some funny videos that were nothing but the ceiling or us chit-chatting, it's because we've been playing with some new toys that Kelly and her amazing husband Adam brought on.
I think I am.
On their
It needs
journey.
to probably be right here.
So we're just playing with. We're going to play with some camera stuff for a second.
Because right here, you look like giants looking up at you. If I
Okay.
So I need to get that. What happened to that little tripod?
The little one?
Yeah.
It's behind you in a drawer. It's okay right here, right now. Oh no, that was Kelly.
This is before I was holding it up. So.
Thank you everybody for being patient.
Hi, Karen. Thanks, you guys, for being patient. We're trying to figure out new stuff. So.
Keep going down. Like the bottom door. I sent him to look in a drawer. I sent him to look in a drawer that has like a cabinet that has 9 drawers.
Almost.
Maybe I should have said which drawer it was in. Those are like our
I started at the top and I worked my way down.
Sorry.
And then I almost fell off my chair. Almost sore. Just because needed to be up higher.
I think that actually even gets bigger. But we don't need it to. Can you see it out here? There's the core. Those are our chests.
No, this is up this. I guess I can do this.
Doing something taller?
I think. How's that look?
Well, we're still catching
I
up.
don't mind catching it.
Hi, everybody. We're working on some technical stuff. It'll just be
We're playing with new toys.
second. Yeah. Okay. Is that?
Hi,
I think we
Heidi.
have like a few
Hi,
seconds. delay.
Michelle. Hi, everybody else.
Okay,
Are we good?
Are we good?
I believe
Keep
so.
Camera's good?
Yep.
It's not just our chests?
No,
No boob videos here.
no.
All right.
What's weird is you look a lot shorter than her, even
I don't
though in
know
real
what
life.
that's really bizarre. Maybe
Yeah,
we're the
'cause
same.
we're not.
We're probably
We're
the same height from the torso up. It's just that your legs must be longer than mine, girl.
Which is weird because I swear my legs are long. I'm working on bad
Your-
posture.
your
so I'm
legs
kind
are
of, like,
longer than
ending up
mine.
Kind of weird. So
They're longer than mine, so I am way shorter than you.
we'll get you a boosters.
Like they do at the hairdresser for Soraya.
We'll get
All
you
right,
one.
booster seat.
Okay.
So, are we good?
Yes, what should we call this?
We should call this Q&A with Kelly.
Okay.
Should we call it that?
Okay.
So we had some questions that some people in some of our groups were asking that we would cover, and so
Go back.
we thought we'd just try to cover them and try to cover as many as we could, and then if you have more while we're chatting, then we're going to try to go for probably 15 minutes or so, and then we'll go from there. So the first one was, I'd love to know your plans for foreign language. It's been teased, but I'd love to hear more about what you're thinking about. So even though my German is muy pequeño, that's not even German, that's Spanish. I can't do it myself. So what we decided to do was to have Facebook groups, and Kelly's got them all set up, and we're working on getting all of the admins for them, right?
Yes. So if you have wanted to be an admin in the past and we've talked about it, send me a private message or post in here and let me know, because those will be up and running by Friday. So
Next
they
Friday.
Will, yeah.
Today's Friday.
So today's Friday. So in a
Next
week
Friday.
from now, next Friday, they will be ready to go. So let me know and
Yeah.
we'll get those started. And we have Spanish, German, French,
Was there something else? Was there
Italian.
Italian? And our intent with those was not to teach, but for you guys to be able to talk to each other, give support to one another about how you're teaching it in your home. And I know we have some natural born speakers. So, you know, if you have Spanish background or you have German background, it'd be really amazing if you would join those groups and sort of help with, help foster that so that we can, bring some more language to people. I think that really, we are going to talk about, and I'll do a blog post on, and maybe once they're up and going, we can do a Monday video on sort of what Steiner's thoughts were for each year for foreign language, because they're really, in a Waldorf school, they're bringing language, sometimes two languages alongside their mother tongue, and so but it's not done the way we did it in high school or even in junior high. It's not done in this dead way. It's done in a way that hopefully it lives in them. And then as they get older, they're actually reading novels and reading main lesson work and things like that from that language. And so we'll do a Monday video on sort of how to bring it to your children, like the Waldorf way, like what Steiner said. But then we really are hoping that the groups that we have will help sort of foster you being able to bring more of it.
Yes, and that way the parents that are working with those specific languages can help each other and bounce ideas off each other and share what they're doing. So
right, totally. And I think it'll be a great place, like almost a repository of like, oh, well, I found all these circle songs that are in Spanish or in German, and then you'll have links that you can share with each other that then are in that language. And I think that'd be super helpful.
So they won't be lessons. They'll be a place to share ideas and help each other out with those that are doing that. So
hopefully that makes you guys excited. I was really excited that we had that idea. I think that's a great way to support each other. And so maybe we should tackle the next question, which is, are we getting off Facebook? Are we having some trouble?
Well, I'm not.
Is anybody hearing us?
I'm not hearing things.
Can you guys hear us?
So I'm not. No, I've got this listening with this, but I'm not hearing anything. So, and on the Facebook end of things, I don't see the comments.
I think people are hearing us. People on Facebook are hearing us because they're talking. So,
can you guys hear us?
We're playing with new tech, so we appreciate all the help that.
And I feel like there's a few second delay on my phone.
Oh,
okay. I found parents can hear us.
Okay, I found the.
Now you can hear us too.
No, I found the chat part.
So. You found the chat part.
Oh, good. Melissa, so that's helpful. Because...
watching myself.
Okay, yeah. So they're hearing. Okay.
So let's talk about we spent a good chunk of today researching and trying to look at Facebook alternatives, and I just got to tell you, it's not going to happen. And this is why it's not going to happen. We would find one that would work, but it would only be for one group and it would cost money. And so if we could find one thing that could work for everything and do all of the things that we needed to, then we would consider it more. But quite frankly, we can't, because we offer what we do at such a great price, we just can't. It's too much. It's way too much work that we're going to be able to take on, and we can't hire an extra person at this point in time to do that. And honestly, I want to say when we had forums in the past, nobody used them.
Right. We just left an extra set of forms that nobody used. And so today we sat for hours and we went through, okay, if we use this one, we've asked, why do you want to use a different setup other than Facebook? What is it you're looking for by leaving Facebook? And the main answer was because I get on Facebook and I get too distracted. So I used all the other forums that we could find today and all the other ones, and I thought, okay, here I am on Meetup or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And wait, now I can go over here and
look at all these other groups. So the distraction thing's not going to go away.
The distraction's not going to go away because you're not on Facebook. So it came down to it. It's a huge will issue, which I get. I absolutely get. I'm on Facebook all the time. My notifications are on because it's part of my job. So I have to have those things. But there's always, where I'm like, oh, look, a cute cat. Or,
it's easy to do that.
So it's super easy
to do that.
So that's something that we need to discuss in the future is will building to control your Facebook usage.
Absolutely. And we've talked about sort of controlling mom's media use in the past. So go back and review some of those videos. But really and truly, the best thing to do is to only have, maybe have just a Facebook account that is just for your groups. And all you're doing is sharing your, going into the groups. I personally, you'll notice I don't post a lot on Facebook because usually I'm just in the groups. Now, what's great is then you can just get the notifications for the groups.
Right.
You don't have to, usually you would get like notifications when somebody posts that's on your See First list, or notifications for a group, or notifications when a business that you like is posted, or is a live video, like some of you that saw the video here. So if you have your notifications set up so that all you're seeing are the group notifications, then you don't have to go to Facebook for anything else. And so you really could discipline yourself that way. Now, I do know that there are some people that don't want to do Facebook because of the privacy issues and stuff. Listen, we get that too. We are okay with you using your first name and your last initial, or you letting us know, hey, this is my Facebook name. That's why when we have like our private groups, when I do like the form, it says, what's your real name? What's your Facebook name?
Right.
Because I want to know what your real name is. And that way too, if you're using your Facebook name and you're contacting me on Messenger, you can say, I'm Willow, but my real name is Susie Q. And I'm a, Thinking, Feeling, Willing member or whatever. And then we can get into a chat, and I can build your persona in my head as Susie Q and not as Willow on Facebook. So I think that, while I understand there's a lot of people that are frustrated, especially about some of this Facebook stuff in the news recently, honestly, I can't see, it's not going to go away. And I really am having a hard time seeing the other places that are taking it over.
Right.
So we have to look at why we have the groups, and you don't have to work in the groups. I mean, the other thing we talked about, a lot of people have said to us, well, I want to be on Facebook because I want to get the notifications that from Waldorf Essentials. There is not going to be anything, especially now that we've moved the site, there's not going to be anything that I'm going to say in a Facebook group that I'm not going to say in an email. So if you are subscribed to the regular Waldorf Essentials email list, which is called Melissa's Reflections, and you can get that at the waldorfessentials.com site. You can sign up in the little right-hand corner. You'll get the emails that I send out every week, and that tells you when we're live, what our topic is, and also maybe some blog posts. So I'm doing that email once a week. We've been doing that consistently for the last 2 months, and it's really gaining some good movement. So you can see us there. Also, because of the way the new site is set up, we have a whole email list that's just for Thinking, Feeling, Willing members, because that's how you had to set up your account on the site. So if there's something that is Thinking, Feeling, Willing specific, I'm going to send out a Thinking, Feeling, Willing specific email to that list. So as long as you have been confirmed and you've got that all settled, and if you have struggles, please just let one of us know and we can help you. But if you've got that confirmed and all settled, I promise, if you want to leave Facebook and you're only hanging out because of the things that you get from Waldorf Essentials, leave Facebook. It's okay. You'll get those announcements via email.
But if you're looking for another forum because you still want to talk
right,
to the moms
like
and all
support,
that, we talked about this day. Not every mom that you talk to is going to leave Facebook and go over to these forums. So we're going to have that issue.
Then you'll be in both places, and then you'll be in two places on your phone too much.
And some of them are like this group text message app thing where if you ask a question, it's going to get buried by the next person asks the question, and nobody likes
it's going to go to everybody.
In a group text. That's like the worst thing ever.
Yeah. So we looked at a lot. I mean, we spent several hours today going through like all the different ones. There were a couple that looked like they could be useful, but then the downsides were like, well, I had to pay for every group, and I had, and so that's from a logistical standpoint for us. We have to look at what will work across the board. And, like I said, you don't have to be on Facebook. You can get those email notifications. We're doing that with Planning for Peace. There's a lot of people that are doing Planning for Peace that are just getting the email notifications and just coming to the Zoom chats. And I'm totally fine with that. I'm also going to start doing the email for when we do the live Thinking, Feeling, Willing group chat, because I've been doing those about once a month and I started doing them for new members, but they're really for anybody who has questions and wants to catch me live. I'll be sending out emails for those too. So there's generally not a way that you can miss unless you're not checking your email. And because email is really the best, I think the easiest way to make sure you get everything.
Yes. And if you need to reach, we're both on Instagram.
Yep. We're both on Instagram. So we're both on Pinterest. We're both on Facebook. You could just, A lot of people just use the Messenger app, and I'm fine with that too. If you want to message us, the Messenger app is great. I wish they still had the groups app. That was really nice when they had the groups app.
I'm wondering if it will come back. They may be
I wondered that too.
They're backpedaling to fix some things,
Mhm.
and I think we're going to see a whole new series of things coming out.
I think so too.
Builder security.
Yes,
and things
exactly.
Like that.
And I've wondered if we'll see like a true Facebook Lite where you can opt out of ads. And I've wondered that. I've wondered how, which makes me sad as a business owner. But I know that there'll be people that will do it. Because that's how we reach people, obviously, is through that.
Brianna Carlson says, thank you for all of your efforts to figure out what might work. I love how y'all always take requests so seriously.
Thank you, Brianna. Yeah. We try. If y'all knew how much time we spend on our knees and in discussion about things. Yeah, a lot. Okay, other questions? So this was the older child transitioning. So I want to say first, Christy, I'm looking at your message. This was a message that Christy sent to us asking about transitioning an older child. But your older child is 11, honey. Your older child isn't an older child yet.
Oh, no, her other son is going into high school.
Oh, wait, sorry. Okay, I didn't see that part. I just saw the 11-year-old.
So you're still having to manage the time for the high schooler so you can work with the 11-year-old.
Got it. Sorry about that. Okay. So no, I'll tell you what I do, and then you tell them what you do.
Okay.
So I work with Eleanor. Eleanor works much better. She's 17. She's a junior, and she works much better with me giving her like assignments for the week. So we generally will meet on Monday, and I will give her the main lesson content for the week that I want to have her to have done. And for her, because she's really trying to develop her art, so I'm looking at each child. So she's really trying to develop her art. So I'm requiring like one art piece a week from her to go with whatever other work she's doing. So like one of the things as she'd like to be done with high school. When we all, right? Like, so I was really thinking about things that I want as we're wrapping things up for her, things that I want her to like know. And we just moved to San Diego, 4 years ago, and it was after local history. So yeah, she's had some sprinkled here and there with Sam, but I really wanted her to know San Diego. I don't want when she says I'm from San Diego and somebody says, "Oh, I used to live there," do you know, blah 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 blah. And she's like, I wanted her to be able to really know the city. And so I've been sending her out, and her job for this last month has been to cover 1 to 2 per week areas of San Diego. It could be something historical like Balboa Park, or a neighborhood. Like she chose some rich neighborhoods. She chose Coronado and La Jolla, which just makes me really laugh. And she went and she looked at their history and how they were founded and like what started the city. So she gained more on that, and it took her a couple of hours driving to see some things. And then I made her write about it. I made her write a paper about each place that she's been to, and she had to do an art piece too. So that's been some of her main lesson content, and it's been very self-directed. We got together, I gave her the information. We still get together for math. We're doing math 3 times a week right now, mostly because she and Mathland aren't friends on a regular basis. And so, but we're also not just doing the wall of curriculum for math. So Eric and I taught a personal finance class for church, and I thought it was a really great manual. And so I'm making her work through it because it's all like, it's like stuff you need to know to be a grown-up.
Emily did Dave Ramsey. So
right, exactly.
So yeah.
Same idea. So that, because now that she's nearing the end of her schooling career, I really I'm thinking about what do I want her to leave with? Like what can I, because really and truly, when they get to be this age, there's not a ton that we can still like teach them. I mean, yes, we can do the main lesson work. Don't you think? I mean,
right.
But I think that they're in a place where they're really wanting to do so much on their own that I wanted to be able to give her some of that. Like, I want you to be able to do some of that on your own. I want you to be able to sort some of that out.
Yes. And she says that he can be a daydreamer and has a hard time staying on task, even when the slightest wrinkle comes up. So I was blessed with probably one of the most severe ADHD boys that's ever walked the earth as a teenager, and as an adult, but he's 24 now. And in high school, and we do the same thing in high school. This is your work for the week. You can it needs to be done
You
by
can do
this
it all
time.
Friday morning if you
Yeah,
want.
you can do it. I have one now that's a junior this year, and he just gets it all done on Monday, and then he's free to go about, and he has a job. But he just prefers to get it all done and plow through it. For the daydreamer kids, find out things that are holding the space. Are they hungry? You have a snack board. Even
Absolutely.
and especially those teenage boys. They get
need a
hungry
lot.
and they're like, oh, what's going on? Corey does better with music when he works, and I was the same way. So I always had music playing in the background.
So that's so funny because I'm like the opposite. I'm like, I can't listen to music. I can't do anything else but this.
Yeah, I have to have like something
But
else
that's how
going
my
on.
kids are too. They need to have something else going on.
So
it seems to soothe, especially people that have some ADHD stuff going on. Like Harry, it's so weird. Harry will be doing something on the computer, watching a YouTube video, and listening to a podcast all at the same time. And he knows exactly what's going on with each one.
And that's how I work. If I will become daydreamy if I don't have a bunch of different things to focus on because I'm looking for something else to focus on. Spotify has a really good channel. It's just called Focus, and you can click on that, and there's a bunch of different stations. It's just music to study by. So, and if it's going to bother somebody else at the table, get some headphones and have him keep one headphone in. Or if he can't split up the whole work, do it for that day. This is what I expect from you this day. Schedule block. Because these kids, when they get out of high school, or even while they're in high school, are going to have to go to a job.
They are. And if you're not making them go to a job, shame on you, Mom.
Yeah. And their boss is not going to want to come sit at their desk and say, so what are you doing? I need you to do this. They need to learn to self-work, and you need to start giving them their skills and holding them accountable. What is their currency?
Right. Absolutely. Agreed. Absolutely agree. I think that it's because and they're all different. I think that's something that's really important too. Like Harry learned way different than Eleanor did, and Jacob went to public school for high school, so he learned even different still. So I think that it's really important that you look at the child. You also need to look at you look at their currency, but also like what do they want to do? Some kids are really driven. And I have some moms that ask me, well, my kid wants to be a doctor. What do I do? I go, well, get a dang tutor in high school and make sure that child is ready for all those exams that they're going to need to take, in order to get into medical school or to get into pre-med. So you want to set them up for what their strengths are and what they're wanting to do. But if you don't, if your child, if your child is not like really wanting to push forward in that, then I think you can look at the curriculum as a whole, make sure you're covering the pieces that they need to cover so that they are, literate in the world history and stuff, and in your area and mathematics, and, definitely look at things that way. But I think that you could really start to let them go, but I really wouldn't do that until they're like probably 16.
Right,
what would you
because
say?
you're also going to find that they are having a hard time transitioning into being adults.
So you have to hold their hand a little bit.
And they get a little jealous when you're like, here's your work, I expect you to, and they look across the table and you're sitting there with the younger sibling, you're nurturing them, and they feel like they're getting a little slighted because they're not getting that same attention. So I always make sure that I have a set time that I get my older kids started. And this is our time together. We go over and I answer any questions, and it's just focused on them. It's not me across the table with a little one being all cute and coloring and, making a craft and all that. And I'm like,
they quickly forget that they have that time with us too.
Yeah, because to them it never happened. They were always like the poor, sad kid that was ignored. And I have 4 adult kids, trust me. No matter what you do, somebody's always going to feel slighted. So, but make sure that you give them that time and that you're engaged and you're not just barking orders. Get your work done. Well, you're like, oh, here's some, let's make some muffins. And they're like, great, thanks.
And I try to interact with them too when it comes to when they're handing stuff in. So do we have comments?
Lennon Clark says, I'm thinking of helping my rising 9th grader to use a weekly planner to visualize what I'm expecting each week, his meetings, etc., to learn to use his time. Thoughts?
Yeah, so I think that's a great idea, Lennon. What I would do is sit down together on, so you've got his main lessons already written out, and what I would do is I would sit down, and Ellie and I did this for 9th and 10th grade. It wasn't until like 11th grade, like this year, when I set her off to do a lot on her own. But 9th and 10th grade, we would sit down and I would open the Planning for Peace journal and I would say, this is what we've got. This is our next lesson block. And we're going to be working on this for the next 4 weeks. So this is what I expect every week. It really, really, really helped her to not look at the daily breakdown just for her own temperament. She really wanted to see the weekly breakdown even then. So I was able to show her the weekly breakdown, and then we could talk about, okay, how much do you think you could get done each day? How far do we need to go each day? What parts do we still need to do together? Because there's going to be a lot of parts that you'll still need to do together. Even if you're facilitating, watching an educational video or something like that together, or discussing a period in history or something like that, you want to make sure that you put those times into your own personal schedule and then into your child's schedule as well. So, and also I think it's important, don't overschedule them. Don't schedule them more than what you would if you were doing them one-on-one. It's really big tendency to go, why is he sitting there right now? And like wonder, oh, but he got his work done. So, it's about like really working together, I think. What do you think about that?
Absolutely. And when you start, you're going to have to keep checking up on them, because some of you will have kids that are like, all right, I'm done, because they're like, well, I got it done, but it's not
right.
It's not done. It looks like garbage. In my house, you can do it again. Like, you do it right, or you just do it again.
Same here.
Because that's not going to send them out into the world to do a job that's well done and to put any pride into their work. So those first times, and even the older kids, when we start the new year, I always spend a little more time like watching what they're doing and checking over that they're actually learning and interested in what's going on and engaging with their work. So, and as it gets older, like 16, most of them will have a job. So we kind of, the schedule looks a lot different.
And we're trying to facilitate that here on our end too. Like as they're approaching 16, like, where do you want to work? Let's check out some places. And I also I think the evaluations that I do for the younger kids, I do it for all the kids. And I like to sit down and do those evaluations with the big kids. Like, I might do the evaluation on my own, and then I might have them come in and sit down and we'll talk about it. Like, one of the things I really wanted to help Ellie work with this year is her managing some of the anxiety that she has sometimes. Like, how can we manage that? Because just saying that I have anxiety doesn't do anything. Like, I know you have anxiety. Let's sort it out. Like, what things can we do to help you with that? Like, how do we help you overcome that? And because I think there's definitely a tendency in our culture today to go, oh, I can't do that, I have anxiety. I go, oh no, we have to help you. Like, let's get there. Yeah, let's work through it. Let's find out where the tipping point is. Stay away from that. So there were a lot of things like that I really wanted to help her work on this year that I couldn't work on if I just wrote it down. It needed to be discussion with her.
And they feel like they're more involved, and
absolutely,
and they own it more.
Totally.
I believe in that. So
I totally agree. It's about giving them enough space. And also, don't be afraid to hire out as they get older too, to find mentors for them. I think it's important that they have a job, but I also think it's important that they learn from other adults whenever possible. That they might have something else going on. Like, Ellie works at the dojo, so it's part of her job, but she's also a mentor to others that are younger, and then she has a mentor too that she works with, so that she's not just getting information from us. There comes a time, I wrote it in the Planning for Peace journal. I wonder if it's sitting over here somewhere, where I wrote it in the section about ages and stages. Where did I put that? I have last year. So hold on. I'm looking for it. It's right here. 14 to 21, the age of independence. And they say, I have figured out that you don't know everything, and I'm starting to wonder if you know anything. I am on a quest for knowledge and truth. That is absolutely where they are. And so you're going to start seeing those seeds, 14, definitely 15. And then at 16, you can start like making that rope to mama a little bit longer and giving them more space.
And I agree. So my husband is an audio engineer. We own a recording studio. My son is taking an audio engineering class, not from my husband.
Yeah.
He's taking that from somewhere else.
Well, isn't that really interesting? Because that's funny that you mentioned that. Eleanor was all about, we had done a lesson block on embryology and birthing, and she was like all into it. I think I might want to be a doula. And I'm like, hello. Yeah. Midwifery background. You want to talk to me about it? Nope.
Yeah, you
not
don't
at
know
all.
anything.
I don't know anything. Who co-op can I ask about this? I'm like, yeah. No, so I'd give her a list of moms that she could go talk to about it that were doulas or something else. But so they're going to pull away. It's not that you don't know anything. You just have to really work to not get butthurt about it.
Yeah, you just kind of, okay, I'm here if you have any questions, and just
exactly
leave them on their own.
Totally.
So,
okay, the next one, Brianna asks, I'm still struggling with temperament. Okay, so here's the thing. I want you to really think about, temperament's an interesting thing. And I know I talk about temperament a lot, and I think I probably have, I said this in a video the other day, I think I probably have some thoughts about temperament that maybe a lot of people across the board either aren't thinking about or they disagree with, which is fine. I'm secure enough in my thoughts that I don't care. I think that you can find out a lot about your temperament by thinking about how you act when you are mad, when you are sad, and when you are sick. Those are like the times that the negative crap comes out, right? So like when you're sick, like how do you act when you're sick? Temperaments act so, and they're like hallmark things. So like a phlegmatic will often just want to go hide. And if they can't hide, they might complain a lot. Eric doesn't complain hardly at all, but I can remember Harry, when we had the swine flu, I had to drug him because he was like a bumbling idiot walking around like that. Because I couldn't get, because you have to layer autism on top of that then. And he was like really struggling with like staying put and being comfortable because he wasn't comfortable. That was the thing. He wasn't comfortable. So then he was, making it. So I was like, how fast can we get some NyQuil? And I'm not a NyQuil mom, like at all. But there was a time that, and he was older. He was like 13. But there are markers within our temperament that will show up when when we're sick. A sanguine person might be like super grouchy just because they don't want to be sick. They want to jump to the next thing. A choleric person will also be like, when is this over? I will do whatever it takes to get this gone. Whatever it takes.
I'm a horrible sick person. I don't have time for it.
I don't either. I don't have time for it. And usually what happens to me is when I'm praying about, please, Lord, help me slow down. He's like, okay, well, we'll just make you sick.
I've noticed recently that you can also tell when somebody else is sick what your temperament is.
Oh, like whether or not you can handle their,
handle
this is a true statement.
Sickness. So.
This is a true statement. I would say a melancholy, the world is making them sick, or it's really very a sad thing. So think about how you act when you're sick. When you're angry, that's another way. So a choleric will generally be angry and be done. Like anger, spew it out, get it all out there, make sure everybody heard it, and then she might like just be done with it. A sanguine will maybe not even remember what she was angry about when she's finished yelling. Because it's really fast, usually pretty fast. And again, these are kind of generalities. A melancholy will often, when they're unbalanced, go to a very passive-aggressive, mean place, and not just about anger at the thing, because there's so much else stuffed in there that if they haven't dealt with it and they're really unbalanced, then they're going to often like bring up like everything that you did in the last 10 years. A phlegmatic will do that too because they got a memory like an elephant, but in a different way. So, but a melancholy will often bring it up in a very passive-aggressive way, and that tends to be not fun to deal with. The best thing to do when you are in a fight with a melancholy is to just disengage, because you're never going to win. Never going to win. I can remember being when we were going through some things with my ex-husband, and the therapist said, "Don't ever let him think that you won, or he will never stop." And we were like, "Oh, okay, noted." So we were like, "You win! Yay, you win!" Nobody wins in those situations, but really and truly, thinking about how you act when you are in those situations, I think, is super helpful. So sadness, like cholerics don't stay sad for very long, and sanguines don't stay sad for very long. Let's try saying that one really fast. Stay sad. The melancholies, if they're not careful, they'll dive into depression. So you have to remember that a depressive thought does not mean you're depressed. You can have a depressed day, right? Hour. Don't I like what you say. Don't set up camp there.
Right. And and I often ask people, was it a bad day, or was it a bad 5 minutes you milked all day?
Exactly. You milked all day. I like that.
Because today just sucked. And I'm like, why? And like, oh, and they'll tell you one thing and you're like,
that was the whole day.
That was like your whole day? Like there's a whole big part of the day.
There were 24 hours.
And I hear a lot, the moms say, I don't know what my true temperament is because I've been through abuse or neglect or some traumatic event. And that, I struggled with that for a really long time. What I thought my temperaments were 10 years ago are not what I know my temperaments are now. And that all comes from inner work. And there's times I need to check myself. Like, am I mad, about this because, and you look for those triggers.
Right.
My husband will say something that's a totally normal thing to say, and I'll get upset, and he'll remind me that he's not my stepfather, that he's not, because I'm mad about something from 30 years ago or 40 years ago, from my childhood, and that's not who I am. And for a lot of us that have come out of trauma and things like that, it's so much easier to be angry than it is to be sad.
Right.
So you get angry and you're like, oh, this is just my temperament. And you're like, no,
because anger makes you feel like you're doing something about it.
Right. And
sadness doesn't.
Sadness hurts. Anger's it's such an easier emotion to deal with. You can be mad and you can blame everybody. When you're sad, you have to look at the whole picture, and you have to nurture yourself. Like, I'm sad because as a child, nobody nobody stood up for me, nobody took care of me, or somebody did this to me. And you have to put it as a I statement, or me, like this. And then when if you're angry, it's well, they did that, and they. So it's just easier to place that blame. So that all comes down to inner work and working through those emotions, and to get to where you can start healing. Right. So where you can see what your temperaments are. Because
I agree.
If you knew me 4 years ago, even, you would think, oh my gosh, she's so melancholic. I am not melancholic at all. I was just taking on the victim role. You
had a melancholy time in your life.
I had a very melancholy time in my life.
I think that's fair to say.
But I unpacked and lived there. It was like, I am a victim. I'm just going to unload and set up camp here in Victim Town. And you don't want to live there.
No, it's not to
get out. You can stop by and be like, oh, okay, this sucks.
It's okay to have like a sad, depressed day.
Yeah.
It's okay to like empty a pint of Ben and Jerry's. It's not okay to buy a case.
Right.
And eat them every day. It's like, it should be like a blip and then move on. And that's how you know if you are full-blown depression and need help versus you had a bad day. And some moms, I know, they're like 3 days away from full-blown depression. So that's where you have to keep yourself in check, and you have to know where your triggers are, and you have to know where that tipping point is. When you know where the tipping point is, then you can go, oh, that was a big trigger for me. I'm staying way far away from that edge. And because if you keep tiptoeing over that edge and then go right over the side, whew, it's really, I just came up with this new saying that I just coined the other day. It's way easier to prevent than it is to clean up. Tattoo that on your forehead. Write it on a Post-it note and put it everywhere. And that applies to everything. It's easier to prevent parenting mishaps than it is to clean them up. It's easier to prevent fights with your partner than it is to clean them up. It's easier to prevent everything than it is to clean it up. So, really and truly think about when you're struggling, what is it that's going on, and look at it from like if an outsider came and looked at your issue or your struggle, what would they say? I think that's like Byron Katie does that in her stuff, in her piece, The Work. Like, you have to ask yourself, is it true? Like, did your whole day really suck? Is that true? Did you not have any redeeming moments in the day? Like, even if you tripped out of bed, burned the breakfast, fell down the stairs, like somewhere in there had to be some redeeming moment, even if it was really small. Maybe you got kissed by your little child, or hugs from, or a nice text from your partner, or whatever it might be. There's definitely a shining moment in there. And if there's not, then honey, get yourself an agent hat and be an agent and find some shining moments, because I think it's super important.
But even when you have those bad days, I was telling Melissa, I had the worst day the other day.
Oh my gosh. That's funny.
Yeah, so it was just one thing after another. So there's days where I drive for Amazon Flex to pick up extra money. It's a super easy side gig, and it's great. So I go to Amazon, I pick up packages, I put the route on my phone.
Like a lot of packages, like 40.
Yeah, it's like 40 packages. So they pay per 4-hour block, no matter how long it takes you. So I get the set amount of money, I sign up for 4-hour blocks, I take my packages, I drive around. I'm usually done max 2 hours. So it's like the easiest money ever. Mm-hmm. So I go, I pick up my packages. I'm like, score, this is right down the street for me. I'm going to be done super fast. I can go home, finish what I need to do. It starts pouring down rain. It is pouring down rain. I can't see where I'm going. I can't do anything. Almost every package I have is in some different apartment complex in a secured building where nobody has put a passcode in their Amazon notes. if you people are buying packages on Amazon and you live in a building with a gate or a gated community, please, for the love, put some house numbers on your house also, but put the passcode in. So I'm constantly going, I can't find anything. I'm outside. I'm wearing my glasses. My glasses are wet. So I can't do anything. So I'm like trying to find everybody. I'm calling Amazon. It's taking forever. So, and then my phone starts dying. I had taken my husband's charger out of his car that doesn't charge my phone apparently. Oh, no. So I'm in a car full of packages. It's pouring down rain. I can't find anything and my phone's dead. And I just want to cry. And I'm like, it's okay. It's okay. And I just remind myself, I've had really good shifts up till now. This is just a moment. I'm going to, and thankfully I have a child with me that's very melancholic and I don't want to set her off and keep,
But she's also like, it's okay, Mom. She's a good, she's a good cheerleader for you at the same time.
Yeah. And it was just one thing after another. And so we go, I finally get done with this. I go home, I go with my daughter-in-law to finish something else. I'm pulling out and I'm driving the wrong way down the road because there's this huge median and it doesn't occur to me that I should be on the other side of it. And so this car is driving by and honking at me and I start laughing. I'm like, I don't even know what to do. I'm like, this day is so ridiculous.
Right.
Yeah, because I could have went home and been like, I'm not doing anything. I'm turning on Netflix. I'm going to bed. Leave me alone. But it was so ridiculous that I just started laughing. I was like, I don't even, yeah.
So you have to turn that around. What's really funny is Kelly lives in the same city that my middle son Jacob lives. Same day, he sends me a message. He's like, hi, Mom, how you doing? I said, hey, I'm doing great. How are you doing? Oh, things are bad. I'm like, then I get on the phone with him. He's like, so why are things bad? Well, I didn't know that East Canyon, so this is Salt Lake City, ends at Jeremy Ranch. I said, well, you learned something. He's like, well, yeah, but then I got to the top and I had to come down Parley's. I said, okay. He's like, and it was raining. I said, okay. He's like, and I was in shorts. I'm like, dude, look at the weather. Like, I said, so you learned something. You learned that maybe you should look at the weather, because I'm like,
it's been raining all week.
Right. Yeah. But here's the thing. When you are not melancholy, like you could have been cheered up. You were fine. You would, but he's melancholy. When you are not melancholy, do not, under any circumstances, try to cheer up a melancholy when they're mad or sad or having a fit. Because I was like, oh, you learned a lesson. He's like, Mom, stop it. like he was not going to be mean to me, but like, I think if he could have hung up on me and I would have been okay with it, he probably would have. Don't, under any circumstances, try to cheer them up out of their sadness because they don't really the best thing you can say is, and then I remembered who I was talking to. I was like, I'm really sorry, honey, that happened to you. I'm sorry you're all wet coming down Parley's. I hope are you dry now? Are you warm now? Like the nurturing things. Don't try to cheer them up because I think that's also how if you're trying to sort out your temperament and you get really mad when people try to cheer you up, you might be melancholy. You might be. Or you might be a cleric who's not gotten over the being mad hump yet. Yeah. So is there any other questions that you've got on your end?
Nope.
Do we have any others here? I was trying to remember if there was anything else. I hope that answers some thoughts about temperament. I really think that keep on your meditation, your inner work, and really start to think about the last few times you were mad, the last few times you were sad, and the last time you were sick. And also it helps to then look at how other people in your life deal with those things so you can sort out sort of what box they fall into. And I also want to say too, like temperament, like people go, oh, well, that only shows one side of me. And I go, yeah, but it shows, it helps in a lot of ways. I kind of think it's like blood type. Like it can be super helpful, with a lot of information.
Because it helps you understand who you are and why you do those things and who your spouse is or, working with your kids and how to reach them if you understand that's how they are.
Yep, absolutely. Do you have anybody else? Any thoughts? Any questions?
Let me check all the other things. Nope. Now, it seems to me this takes a few seconds to actually stop.
Okay, are we done?
And
do we have any others?
We're kind of on like a delay.
Yeah, we are on a delay here.
We're using new stuff, so you guys are kind of our guinea pigs. So we appreciate that.
There does seem to be a delay.
The delay seems to be probably 30 seconds or so, almost.
Yeah.
It's a bigger delay than I thought originally.
And we have our, good internet connection.
I don't think we have anything else. All right, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. Do you have anything else to say? I just
To
think
make sure everybody is signed up for the new newsletter,
Yep, the newsletter. That's a reminder. Sign up for the newsletter.
and register on the new website.
Yep, get registered. If you're a Thinking Feeling Willing member and you have not signed up and gotten into the site, please do so. I actually check up every day or so and I look at the numbers. So I know we're nowhere near everybody that needs to be signed in. So if you're putting it off, stop putting it off and just get busy, because there's some new stuff there and you won't get it until you get on there.
Right.
Yeah, so definitely do that. And yeah, I think that's all. Any other? I think that's all.
Okay, I'm gonna push
All right.
stream.
Wait.